A clash for the ages. Season 1 champion DistantCoder representing WIND and Aeolus take on Season 2 champion BeanSoldier representing EARTH and Demeter. This is one you do not want to miss, as these two Elestrals are about to throw down in a clash like you've never seen before. Oh, and if you didn't hear, Elestrals is officially live on TCG Player. There's never been a better time to tell your local game store about Elestrals and get them involved. We've got a big year ahead in 2025 and would love to work with your local shops to bring exclusive prizing and events to your hometown. BeanSoldier, our reigning champion. Tell us about your game plan to take down DistantCoder.
What's up, my numbugs? It's your boy Josh from the Elestriad, aka BeanSoldier, and what else can I say? Champ v champ, not v not. You'll love to see it. I just wish it didn't happen in top 8 of all things. So, what are we bringing today? Shocker, we're bringing Earth, standard Earth. Well, I would say standard Earth, but Kevin's a really good player, and I need to keep him on his toes with a little bit of a surprise. That surprise is I'm going to be playing Unkelith Jump Scare. With Wind being such an expensive deck already, I'm hoping that I can get a bunch of surprise damage in with a 4 or 5 Spirit Arcolith that we just kind of win the game on the spot. We're also going to pair that along with another card that I don't think that Coder will be prepared for, and that is Thunderstorm. This is particularly good into Aeolus to be able to stop things like Altar of Stars, but also because I know that Kevin is a very good Earth player himself. He's won plenty of tournaments with Earth. He plays Earth a ton. He's quite the Earth aficionado himself, and he knows how to play into this deck, and that is you only set one back row at a time to play around Equilinks unless you have a Gorgon's Gaze set. So I'm hoping to be able to snipe that one back row or pop an Aeolus and get in for a ton of damage with a Vis or even an Arcolith. Maybe even pay off the Arcolith with the Thunderstorm. I'm going to have to be on my A game this week to beat him. Going to be probably my toughest opponent that I've ever had in the Elestriad. So, Kevin, I wish you the best of luck from one knot to another, but you're going to go down.
Thunderstorm could be big to deplete Coder of his Aeolus and remove the Wind Nexus strategy entirely. Arcolith is another massive threat that could catch Coder off guard if he overextends. I'm really excited to see Coder's game plan. Let's hear from the man himself.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Coder, and I'm about to face off probably the hardest matchup I'm going to have this entire Elestriad. I'm playing against my boy Josh, the one and only BeanSoldier, the winner of last season's Elestriad, and he's playing a good deck. He's on Earth. I'm playing a bad deck. I'm on Wind. I honestly really would like to get the win here, but I don't think it's very likely. So I'm bringing something a little bit unorthodox, hoping to catch him off guard. So let's see what I got. Let me show you guys the secret sauce. So the sauce in question, very simple. 3 Hydrake, 1 Twindra, 1 PENTERROR, baby. Pent best deck. I'm bringing this because in base set meta, this was the engine that cooked Earth real hard, and I think with the addition of a couple of the wind tools, and hopefully if he's not playing Dense Fog, because Dense Fog beats this like crazy, hopefully if he's not on Dense Fog on main or inside, I can catch him off guard with this and do some cool stuff. Otherwise, I am playing 3 copies of Sorlet because it's a 5, 3 copies of Veratuka because it's my only way of removing attack position guys. This card isn't that great in the matchup, specifically because with Equilinks, he can like load a bunch of spirits on all of his guys. So, not the best. I'm playing 2 Nemesail to heal, 2 Toxiswarm for a little bit of burn. Let me move this up. 2 Toxiswarm for a wee little bit of burn, 1 P-Gust to pop some back row, 1 Exaltair for additional burn. And this is my Wind Elestrals package. I'm playing more Elestrals than this in the deck, but this is the Wind package. It's pretty thick because with 11 Wind Spirits, I kind of don't have a choice but to play a lot of Wind guys. And I'll be honest, I think the biggest drawback about these is that they're all pretty small, with the exception of Sorlet. Sorlet being a 5 is like a saving grace, honestly. And then to round out the Wind package, I am playing 3 Aeolus, and I'm playing 2 Islands of Aeolia this time. The reason why I'm on the Aeolia is because he's playing Earth. It's entirely possible he plays Foloi, and I think if he sticks a Foloi Forest to the board, there's absolutely no chance I win the game almost at all. So I think we are going to have to play a little bit of the Stadium Wars, so hopefully I can come out on top with Aeolia, and Aeolia lets me beat over a lot of his stuff, because most of his guys are like 3s and 4s, only about, I think it's just the Viserys that's like a native-ish 5. So Aeolia really good into a lot of the Earth cards. Then to round out Elestrals, obviously 3 Astrabbit, and I am playing 2 Elechick this time around because I do need to see Aeolus in this deck. I'm playing a couple of Nexus tools. I am playing the Altar of Stars in the deck as well, so because of that, I need to kind of turbo out the Aeolus, so I am playing 2 Elechick in order to get it, and it also baits out Gorgon's Gaze, because if I don't have the tools that I need the Aeolus for, then he might Gorgon's Gaze the Elechick anyway. And then I'm playing 3 Ambrosia, 1 Resting, 1 EQ as like the Invoke runes for removal and stuff like that, and then healing. These are just like the mandatory includes, like you can't not play them. And then I'm playing 3 copies of the Gaze, 3 copies of the Poison Tipped Arrow, and 2 copies of Altar of Stars as my counter rune lineup. I'm choosing not to play Shield because Equilinks beat Shield every single time, and I'm not playing Tsunami because I do not have the space in my Spirit deck, which I will show you guys now. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 Wind, 3 Thunder, and 2 Earth. So the Thunder is for Elechick Astrabbit, the Earth is for Earthquake, and then the rest is just all Wind because this deck is expensive. It is an expensive deck. So because the deck is so freaking expensive, I had no choice but to, play a lot of the Wind spirits. So that's what I am on in terms of the spirits. And then off to the side deck, I'm playing a 3rd Toxus Swarm, a 3rd Nemesail, a 2nd P-Gust, 2nd Exaltair, 3 Cryoblast with the associated 2 Flurmine. I'm playing a Lavalith with the associated Vipyro, and I'm playing 3rd Aeolia, 1 Shield, and a Lycaris. This is the most all-over-the-place side deck I've ever made. I kind of just threw cards together that I was like, if it feels like I need more Nemesail, I'll put them in. If it feels like I need more Exaltair, I'll put it in. There was not a lot of theory put into this because I assume I was going to lose. So, because I'm assuming I'm going to lose, I just kind of went all willy-nilly. So with that being said, let's get into the clash.
Wow! BeanSoldier is not on Dense Fog, which means that Coder's plan of Hydrake ramping into PENTERROR might just work. Timing is everything with this strategy, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Without further ado, your final Elite 8 clash, BeanSoldier versus DistantCoder, begins now. Alright, it looks like DistantCoder starting this one off with a mulligan. So he's already down 2 spirits, which is really rough, especially for Wind. Wind relies on being able to utilize Aeolus to search out the tools that it needs, which is going to be key as he is going to get his Elechick out and grab that Aeolus right off the gates. It's going to be interesting to see if he chooses to play it right now, if he'll save it for later, but ultimately he gets his engine started perfectly here. He is going to go Aeolus. This may reveal what his strategy is going to be, so that's something to keep in mind here. If he searches out like a Hydrake right now, it kind of shows exactly what he wants to do. But very quickly after a mulligan and Aeolus, he is down to just 12 spirits. DistantCoder going all in on this first turn with Elechick Aeolus. And let's see what he's going to grab ultimately. It's going to be the Sorlet, so choosing the 5-attack Sorlet and not revealing his game plan around Hydrake just yet. But that is going to be the key to this clash. How does DistantCoder utilize Hydrake into PENTERROR? If he can land it, it could be massive. BeanSoldier, your reigning champion, has piloted Earth exponentially better than most casters in the playing field. There's a Gorgon's Gaze. Coder's not going to let this Elechick search out Demeter, and Coder immediately takes advantage here, but he will pull a spirit off of his Aeolus, and he will also reach for another spirit from his spirit deck, so it's only going to cost him 1 spirit to play this Gorgon's Gaze. This is a strategy that I've seen kind of employed more lately, is casters opting to Gorgons, Elechicks. I can speak from my experience that initially, I was never going to Gorgons and Elechick, but as the metagame has devolved, it actually can be very advantageous because if you can keep, especially Earth, from being able to access Demeter, then you can kind of delay a lot of its strategies and give yourself a chance to establish a board state or find the appropriate counter runes to be able to deal with those threats. Coder opting to go Astrabbit here instead of Sorlet. Sorlet, of course, would be able to knock out the Elechick very easily, but the Astrabbit is going to be met with a Gorgon's Gaze here. BeanSoldier quite a bit up in spirits, opting to use his Gorgon's Gaze early here. A very interesting decision. Obviously, you're preventing Coder from getting that 1-card advantage, but at the same time, you're not really gaining much else there. So we'll have to see how that plays out. If BeanSoldier is able to find more counter rune support. There is, look at BeanSoldier's face! His eyes have lit up, and he might have just realized, wait a minute, I have made a very big mistake. I just burned my Gorgon's Gaze, And now I'm about to be facing down a Hydrake very, very soon. Coder uses his one of Earthquake down to just 8 spirits left. He's going to be able to attack for 1 spirit here with Elechick. And of course, BeanSoldier will take that spirit. Actually, I think I might have just noticed a misplay there. BeanSoldier taking 2 spirits of damage off of that play. He should have only taken 1. Astrabit was Gorgon's Gaze and was not able to attack there. But we're going to press on. BeanSoldier, Arcolith hits the field. That is going to be able to allow itself to enchant with many, many Thunder Spirits. So all of that may be for naught, as this Arcolith is going to come down with big power. Coder pulls off his Astrabit to play Poison Tipped Arrow to bring the attack of this Arcolith down quite a bit. But BeanSoldier is going to be able to load it up with 5 spirits regardless. And even though it's going to go down at the end of the turn, he can swing for massive damage here against his Elechick and Crash if he so decides. It would ultimately deal 4 spirits of damage to Elechick, but it would prevent Coder from needing to expend 2 spirits in the end phase to use his PTA. So a massive swing there. 4 spirits go down. Coder down to just 4 spirits on his end. BeanSoldier in an incredibly powerful situation. No Elestrals on the field right now, but if you're BeanSoldier, feeling pretty good. Nemisail hits the field, perhaps the best thing that Coder could have possibly found. Nemisail will get you 2 additional spirits back and keep Coder in this one, bringing him up to 5 spirits, and he can chip away at Bean for 1 spirit of damage here as well, ultimately giving him an opportunity to establish a board state here. The question is going to be, does BeanSoldier have an answer? His Demeter search was shut down. He didn't get to keep his Arcolith on the field for very long. Let's see if BeanSoldier has an Elestral to respond. He does, and it is Astrabit, perhaps the best thing he could find right now to kind of set some defenses up, get himself an opportunity to catch his bearings, and establish a game plan here moving into the second half of this clash. The problem is now you allow Nemisail to do its thing again, and if it continues to do that, the kind of lead that BeanSoldier has slowly starts to chip away. Here comes an Island of Aeolia. That's going to buff up these Wind Elestrals. 1 attack for every spirit on them. Here comes Sorlet. Sorlet's now a 6 attacker as a result, but it's going to go to defense position because of Tsunami. So very nice timing there from BeanSoldier. The Tsunami is going to prevent this Sorlet from being able to put on any sort of offensive momentum. Here comes a Ramagem to respond with no back row on Coder's end. This might just seal the deal right here. This could put Coder in such a bad position. Viscerous added to hand for BeanSoldier. Rabbit switches to attack position, and Ramagem and Rabbit can flip this field right now and leave Coder with no Elestrals left. And one of the wise decisions here, Hydrake cannot crash into either of these threats. So that's going to be something to watch as we go to a game 2 here. Looks like Coder is going to cast out a Nemisail. I'm a little confused. Oh, the Island of Aeolia. I'm sorry, the Island of Aeolia made it so both Sorlet and Nemisail were stronger. Wait a minute. Coder's about to flip this game. I apologize for that. Coder drops the Nemisail, heals 2 spirits, and he's going to be able to deal a spirit of damage to BeanSoldier. Absolutely incredible. Island of Aeolia coming in so clutch right now. Here's a resting on your laurels. That'll clear the Sorlet. BeanSoldier's going to be looking for some way to mount a comeback here. That was insane. The Island of Aeolia is so big, but here comes Viscerous. Viscerous going to be able to take out one of these Nemisail and cast an additional Viscerous to the field. That's going to allow him a chance to flip this board back. Coder facing down this powerful Battle Bug that was searched out from the Ramagem on the prior turn. There's an Earthquake, and we are indeed going to see this board flip after all. I thought it was going to be on the prior turn. Forgot all about that stadium. But Viscerous is going to fire off an attack into the Nemisail, take it out, and remove the 2 healers from Coder's side of the field. And here comes a second Viscerous into defense position. And Coder with 4 spirits left. Does he have enough wiggle room to go PENTERROR? He's going to need an Ambrosia to make that happen. Let's find out. He has the Hydrake. He's going to go Ambrosia. Wait a minute. Is he about to go Hydrake into Viscerous, into Twindra, into PENTERROR? Because that is a play he can definitely make right now that he has utilized the Ambrosia. Here comes the Hydrake. What is the face down rune for BeanSoldier? Hydrake crashes into the Viscerous, we presume. Absolutely nuts. He does it. No response? Oh my god. Are we going to see a PENTERROR right now? BeanSoldier doing the math. BeanSoldier is doing the math. He is going to grab the Twindra, it seems. Oh man, oh man. Yep, DistantCoder is going to grab Twindra. Twindra, a 5 attacker, facing down this 6 attack of the Viscerus. The Island of Aeolus is gone. Coder pulled off of it with the Ambrosia. A wise decision earlier. Twindra going to be able to attack into the Viscerus and knock itself out and ultimately bring out PENTERROR with just one spirit left. Here comes the poison-tipped arrow. He's going to pull off his Viscerus, a wise choice in a way, because now he's going to be able to clear the Twindra at the end of the turn. Twindra does take out the Viscerus, but after expending 2 spirits here, BeanSoldier will take out the Twindra and be able to draw with 1 spirit to go. DistantCoder sitting at 4 spirits in a powerful position, but BeanSoldier backed up against a wall here. Let's find out how this is going to throw down. He is unsure about what his play is going to be. Coder reveals Toxiswarm, so this one's not going to matter either way. Toxiswarm can hit the field and win the game. Coder takes this one 1-0 as we head to game 2 of our best of 3. Coder forced to mulligan again and again. He is down to 16 spirits already. As we are just starting this game 2, not how you want to start if you're DistantCoder. He had an incredible game 1 there, being able to utilize Nemisail to keep him in the clash and ultimately be able to get out the Twindra to put enough pressure on and seal the deal. BeanSoldier opting to expend to draw here, trying to get more of an advantage as Coder was forced to mulligan so many spirits to find a hand that he wants to advance with. Here comes Elestriad. That's what he likes to see, though. Elestriad will start this clash off just like we saw the last one start, with Aeolus being searched out and added to Coder's hand. Getting access to any one of these 1-spirit Wind Elestrals is really valuable. You can search out your Hydrake, you can search out your Nemisail, you can really search out anything, Verituka, etc. And Coder hits for 1 spirit of damage into BeanSoldier and brings him down to 18, getting this a little bit closer. But now BeanSoldier with a fully stacked up hand is gonna bring Equalings to the field, and an immediate response, yes, poison-tipped arrow. PTA, a very good response against an early game Equalings because you make it second guess the Nexus functionality, right? In this case, BeanSoldier is gonna load up his Demeter here and get 2 spirits on it. He's going to be able to utilize Equalings' effect to Nexus and potentially destroy the face down rune. It's going to be an Altar of Stars, so a pretty good hit there for the later part of the game. And then he can disenchant the Demeter to ensure that Equalings will hit over the Elechick and be able to maintain board state, but he'll lose the Elechick in the end phase, and all of those spirits will be consumed as Coder is able to expend an additional spirit with the poison-tipped arrow to clear the field. Coder in a position where he can now use Aeolus to grab whatever he wants. If he has counter rune support, it could be really powerful to grab that Nemisail. Let's see if that's the route he goes. Here comes Aeolus. Will he load it up? He is indeed going to load it up with 3, 4, 5 spirits perhaps. That is a hefty Aeolus, and immediately disenchants 2 spirits to give him that search function that he's looking for. The question is, what is he going to grab? I think Nemisail is incredibly tempting at this stage of the clash. It's a little hard for me to see. That looks like an Exaltair. It is an Exaltair. He's going big right now. This is opportunity to deal massive damage, and he's going to take it. Going for the Nexus to force an expend on 2, and then attack for 3. That's a 5 spirit turn for DistantCoder, dealing massive damage. The real question is going to be, you clear the Equalings, you clear the Demeter. What is the face down rune that DistantCoder has? Because he needs to protect his Exaltair. If he can manage to get another turn out of this, that could be massive. But he's going to be facing down a Viscerus now. 5 attack on Viscerus and the potential of a second Viscerus to hit the field if this can connect. BeanSoldier going to set a back row and go for the Demeter. That may indicate that the face down is an Altar of Stars. Typically, you see those combinations come into play. Otherwise, there's not a ton of benefit to casting Demeter here. There is an Altar of Stars of his own. DistantCoder with a massive play, as he's now able to shift the position of this Viscerus to defense and allow his Exaltair to live to see another day, opting to put the Spirit back on the Aeolus. I think that's a very wise choice. If you're Coder, there's one thing you got to be really worried about right now, and that is the Altar of Stars, right? The opportunity for this Viscerus to change to attack position and ultimately, take you out there. But Coder is going to disenchant, grab the Nemisail. He has a chance to get a double Nemisail proc here. If he can land this play, Nemisail hits the field from the Aeolus search. Is there an answer from BeanSoldier? This is where Gorgons would be massive, and he has it. The full art Gorgon's Gaze will stop the Nemisail. That is a huge play. In fact, that is a massive play, because not only are you stopping Coder from healing 4 spirits, you're also saving yourself from taking 2 spirits of damage from Exaltair going for Nexus. But instead, we're going to see an Earthquake come out and take out the Viscerus. ensuring that there's no Altar of Star shenanigans. So really good play there from Coder. But I'll tell you what, that Gorgon's Gaze cannot be understated or overstated enough how powerful that was. That is a very, very strong. He does have the Altar, has an opportunity to Nexus to shift the Exaltair to defense. I'm not quite sure. He's moving some spirits around here. He's going to shift it back, ultimately burning his Altar to clear and save those spirits. I don't think there was a ton of advantage coming from that ultimately, but he does get the response and does turn the Exaltair into defense position, but Exaltair was previously on the field, so it can just shift back into attack. So I think that that's not going to make any difference here, as Exaltair will deal 2 spirits of damage to BeanSoldier. Bean down to just 3. Can he find an Arcolith here? Arcolith wins him the game? No, but a Viscerus could do it too. Viscerus comes out to the field, immediately threatening both Exaltair and Nemisail. I think if you're Bean, you gotta take out the Exaltair, right? You can't allow that to stick, but Poison-Tipped Arrow will drop it down to 3 attack, ensuring that if it does attack into one of these Elestrals, it'll be a crash, unless Bean uses his Demeter here. Here's the Disenchant from Demeter. Going to be able to buff up his Viscerus and allow it to be a little bit stronger. 6 attack here, going into this damage step, taking out the Exaltair, and then ultimately Poison-Tipped Arrow on DistantCoder's end can take out the Viscerus in the end phase, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. And the Viscerus does hit the field on Coder's end in defense position. So Coder down to just 1 spirit. BeanSoldier also down to 1 spirit. Coder going to go for the Hydrake play instead. Hydrake and Nemisail both attacking forward. That is going to take out BeanSoldier and bring him down to just 1 spirit left. My goodness. Actually, it's going to bring him down to 0 spirits. So that means BeanSoldier needs an Ambrosia to hang in this one. Does he have it? He does! Ambrosia saves BeanSoldier so he can play on in this one. Will he find an Arcolith? Arcolith immediately wins him the game, but he chooses to grab 3 Earth Spirits instead. What is his play? It's going to be a Mudlet. Mudlet will shift the position of his Elestral to defense on the receive. I assume you shift the Nemisail and just try to take that out. Coder doesn't have the flexibility to utilize the Hydrake's effect, but I guess you can change the Hydrake to just ensure Ambrosia doesn't beat you here. Mudlet is... Oh, actually, no, you definitely switch the Hydrake in hindsight, because if you switch the Nemisail, then the Hydrake just destroys you. So now Coder's in a position where he has to crash. He has no other choice. Coder is going to crash, and BeanSoldier is going to take this one. He has 2 spirits. All he has to do is find an Elestral, and he has it, the Astrabit. BeanSoldier in an incredibly close game, finding Ambrosia off the Demeter and holding it down. We are 1-1 going to a game 3. Coder forced to mulligan to start this one off. Everything is on the line as only 1 caster will advance to our next round. He expends to draw to find more resources, and BeanSoldier starts this one off in the worst way possible for Coder. Equalings hits the field with a very, very powerful effect, but no backup for it. We don't see the Demeter, so Coder is going to live to see another day and not take some massive damage here, just the 1 spirit. So if you're Coder, you're feeling a little bit better, and he's going to use his Earthquake. Wow, he's found those Earthquakes really well this clash. That card is a very impactful one, but you have to use it at the right time. Otherwise, you just don't really get enough out of it. Pigas here going to be able to pick off one of the back row. Great answer from Coder, picking off a Shield of Achilles. That may prove to be very advantageous later on in the clash. Another back row, and he'll get a chip off for 1 spirit of damage, as Bean is not looking to burn his counter rune on a Pigas right now, but he is going to need to deal with that Pigas sooner than later, because if Pigas is able to do its thing and start popping more back row, Coder might just be in the driver's seat here. But here comes Elechick. Elechick will allow for the immediate search of that Demeter. Demeter provides the power buff to all of these Elestrals, and now Pigas goes down to Elechick's 4 attack. DistantCoder searching his deck on the top to find something big, and it's going to be the Hydrake. Does BeanSoldier have an answer? Here comes Hydrake, charging forward into Elechick. These 2 Elestrals are going to crash, and Coder is going to be allowed to bring out Twindra. You chop off 1 head, another grows back. Twindra is here with 2 heads, ready to deal 2 spirits of damage, but it's going to get Shield of Achilles back. So BeanSoldier finding 2 Shields of Achilles to start this clash off. Pigas took care of 1 of them, but not going to be able to take care of both. Big plays there from BeanSoldier, as DistantCoder's strategy is now slowed down. And it's worth noting that he's only running the 1 Twindra in his deck, So now it's stuck in his hand. So if Hydrate gets his effect off later in this clash, it's going to be finding that Twindra from the hand, which is a little less advantageous. A second Elechick comes out, a Demeter gets added, and this Elechick is going to deal more damage to Coder, but if Coder can somehow find a way to get another Hydrate, he still has a chance here to stick PENTERROR and deal massive damage. Let's see, is that an expend to draw from Coder? It looks like it might have been trying to find some resources. No, it was not an expend to draw, rather that was his regular draw. And here comes Hydrate, he's got it! The Hydrate is back! DistantCoder bringing the Hydrate the second time, and we might just see a Twindra again. BeanSoldier facing down one of the most powerful and somewhat forgotten Elestral strategies. PENTERROR dominated our base set metagame and is as Coder highlighted, one of the things that just beat down Earth Nexus. And here it is again, doing big things, dealing massive damage, 2 spirits of damage to Bean, and Bean's gonna have to figure out a way to take this out. And a lot of the Elestrals that Bean is using can take it out, but they do so in a way that brings out PENTERROR. So here comes Station, here comes Demeter. What is the game plan gonna be if you're BeanSoldier? Because you gotta figure out, how do I hit over this thing? He's gonna disenchant and bring the Station to 9 attack. Here comes a Gorgon's Gaze. Huge plays from Bean. Wow. Gorgon's Gaze in the battle step. Gonna be able to suppress the effect of Twindra and prevent PENTERROR from coming out. Station clears and is gonna be sent to defense position. Toxiswarm hits the field. That's going to burn BeanSoldier for 1 spirit, and it's going to attack and take out the Station. Once again, BeanSoldier on the back foot. Coder invested a ton of spirits and resources into Twindra, never got out PENTERROR, but ultimately, Toxiswarm putting on the pressure. Here comes Mudlet, going to shift him to defense position. Does Coder have any sort of an answer to a Mudlet? This could be a big turn if he's able to keep Toxiswarm around, and he's not. Mudlet takes him out. Coder looking for another answer. He's going to need an Elestral. Can he find another Toxiswarm? Can he find a Veratuka? What is his play? A Nemisail would be huge. It's going to be the Veratuka making its debut in this best of 3 clash. Veratuka immediately eliminates the Mudlet regardless of its attack stat because of Veratuka's effect. A very powerful and underutilized Elestral. BeanSoldier finds his Ambrosia. We know he's got 2 Demeters, so no loss there using Demeter to get that Ambrosia off and heal for additional spirits. That's going to give him a bigger spirit differential gap right now, getting him up to 7 to Coder's 4. Coder does have 2 back row, potentially counter runes. We haven't seen a ton of counterplay out of Coder in this clash, so we'll see if BeanSoldier is able to find an Elestral to respond with here. If you're Coder, I think there's 2 things you focus on. There's an expend to draw, so Bean's looking for an out. I think one thing if you're Coder you got to be really mindful of here is it's a very scary situation if you cast another Elestral into attack position. That is something you have to be mindful of. You saw the Arcolith in game 1. He's going to do it anyway. That tells me he's got confidence in his back row. Nemisail comes out. That's going to heal 2 wind spirits for DistantCoder. That's big. Nemisail proving to be an incredibly powerful tool in this clash, as now he can deal 2 spirits of damage with Nemisail and Veratuka, 2 3 attackers, to take out BeanSoldier's spirit deck and bring him down to just 4. Absolutely wild. This one has been back and forth the entire way. BeanSoldier does indeed take those 2 spirits of damage. The question is going to be, what is his answer? He's actually behind now after being ahead of most of this best of 3. And there's the Arcolith! Exactly what you needed to be worried about. Arcolith hits the field with 2 Thunder Spirits and can now grab an additional 3 Thunder from the Underworld and bring them to any card on the field. It's going to be the Arcolith. That's a 5 Spirit Arcolith. The question now is, does Coder have back row to protect himself? He needs something. Ambrosia off the Arcolith. Huge plays from BeanSoldier. That is how you take advantage of Arcolith's effect the best way possible, is using those spirits on your field. For those new casters out there, you can do what's called siphoning spirits from your field to cast your invoke and counter runes, and Bean has done that in a very impactful way here. Arcolith able to deal massive damage now. Will inflict 3 spirits of damage if it connects. Coder has a counter rune. It's an Altar of Stars! He can Nexus from the Veratuka onto the Nemisail to heal for 2 and shift the Arcolith to defense. Is that the play? It is. It is the play. So Arcolith goes to defense, the attack doesn't happen, and Coder able to heal 2 spirits off of that Nexus. Now, if you're Coder, you got to figure out a way to hit over for defense. Sorlet is your main answer to do that. Let's see if he finds it. He's got a couple different ways to get to that. He can also choose to re-enchant his Nemisail to heal more, but without the counter rune support, that's a tough play to make, knowing that you're going to be staring down this Arcalith on the upcoming turn. Here comes an Exaltair. Exaltair does have the ability to Nexus and burn for 2 spirits, but without an Island of Olia, he's going to have a hard time attacking over this Arcalith. Another back row for Coder. He's got 5 spirits left. BeanSoldier down to just 3. He's going to put on some massive damage here if he can make a play. Let's see what BeanSoldier's cooking for this turn. 1 back row, 2 back row. Arcalith shifting to attack position. It will deal 3 spirits of damage if it takes down the Nemisail. Let's see. Does Coder have back row? He does. Another Altar of Stars. Huge. The way Coder is moving his field state around to take advantage of Nemisail and Exaltair has proven to be incredibly impactful in this third clash here. He's going to heal 2 up and get himself to 6. He's going to shift the Arcalith to defense, and now he can burn for 2 more spirits with Exaltair. And that's exactly what he's going to do. The Nexus from Nemisail onto Exaltair to burn for 2 more spirits. Bean to just 1. Coder forced to shift both Elestrals to defense. Here comes an Elechick. That means he can search out his Aeolus and then Toxiswarm if he wants, meaning that BeanSoldier is not going to be able to go down to 0 spirits because Toxiswarm can win the game from there. If you're BeanSoldier, you have to take out the Exaltair here. You don't have a choice. This is very tough if you're Bean. You really need to find an Ambrosia to play off your Arcalith. He's going to ascend his Arcalith? Into what? He grabs his Earth Spirit, his final spirit, into an Astrabit. The Poison Tipped Arrow comes into play. BeanSoldier's going to be able to search the top of his deck looking for an Ambrosia. I don't think, based on him shaking his head, he found it. And DistantCoder reveals his hand. Coder is going to the next round behind Aeolus and Wind, and he takes down the reigning champion BeanSoldier in an epic best of 3 showdown. Congratulations to Coder, and big shout outs to BeanSoldier for getting this far, but it looks like Coder and the Wind Pantheon are going for the run back. Stay tuned for our next round of clashes here in the Elestriad, as things are only just heating up. These casters are competing to become immortalized in Elestrals as the Divine Rune, and you don't want to miss it.